Agricultural Committee meeting for February 4th, 2019. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will you do the roll, please?
Walter?
Here.
Lee?
Here.
Barstow?
Here. All right, we have seven, is it seven? Yeah, seven applications to get through, so we'll kind of go through these quickly, I believe. Scott?
Thank you, sir. The first application is for William S. and Jerry D. West. The property is located at 3670 Headleys Mill Road. It is currently enrolled within CAUV. It's zoned agricultural, as are all surrounding properties. The future land use designation is for conservation residential, as are all surrounding properties. Staff has no objections with this application.
I have one quick question for you guys. The conservation residential, is that a term that's in the existing comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. I know it's in the new one, but I just wanted to make sure we were using.
Apples to apples.
Cool. Any questions from committee? No. All right. Number 2.
Next application is for the Baker Levin Farm. The property does not have an address. It's actually 4014 Summit Road. It's currently enrolled within CAUV. It is zoned rural residential, as are the properties to the east and south. To the north and west are R87. Futures land use map designates the property for agriculture, low density residential, as are all surrounding properties. Area development, new Licking Heights High School is planned to be constructed across the street. And infrastructure plans, water and sanitary sewer lines are currently being installed in the area by the Water and Sewer District. Staff has no objections to this application.
Any comments from the committee? And on to number 3.
Next application is for William H. and Christine S. Marks. Property is located at 3340 Old Maids Lane. It's currently enrolled within CAUV. It's zoned agricultural, as are all surrounding properties. Future land use map designates the property for agriculture, low density residential, as are all surrounding properties except that to the east, which is designated for conservation residential. Staff has no objection to this application.
Any comments from the committee? No. Number 4.
The application is for Johann H. Visser. Property is located at 13653 Havens Corners Road. It's currently enrolled within CAUV. It's zoned rural residential, as are all surrounding properties. Property is designated for agriculture, low density residential in the future land use map, as are all surrounding properties. Staff has no objections to this application.
Okay. Committee, any comments?
No.
No. All right, on number 5.
Next application is for Ronald E. and Peggy A. Moreland. The property is located at 11495 Mill Street. It's currently enrolled within CAUV. It's zoned agricultural, as are all surrounding properties except to the west, which is zoned planned manufacturing. Future land use map designates the property for heavy industrial with a planned development district recommended, as are the property to the east, south, and west. And to the north is a permanent agricultural easement. Staff has no objections to this application.
Any comments from the committee?
No.
Okay. On to number 6.
Next application is for Thomas A. and Sally E. Wheeler, trustees. Its property is located on Cable Road. There is no address. The property is enrolled within CAUV. It is zoned agriculture, as are all surrounding properties. Future land use map designates the property for conservation residential, as are the properties to the north and east. To the south and west is agriculture, low density residential. Staff has no objections to this application.
Any comments from the committee?
No.
All right, on to number 7.
Next application is for William H. and Barbara J. Geiger, located at 3290 Mink Street. Currently enrolled within CAUV. It's zoned R87, as are all surrounding properties except to the east, which is zoned agricultural. Future land use map designates the property for agriculture, low density residential, as are all surrounding properties. Staff has no objections to this application.
Any comments from the committee?
No.
All right. Very good. Any other business for the committee? Go right ahead.
Mr. Fulbright, thanks for giving me the comprehensive plan, I appreciate that.
Sure.
We're getting a lot of development in the city, just a reminder on the discharge map, there needs to be changes.
Yes. And what we can do is we'll review the discharge map and make sure that if there are any updates needed, that we'll bring that before the agricultural committee.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Scott, one place to really look at there would be in the Sugar Mill area.
Absolutely.
So,
And I believe our last update took the entirety of Sugar Mill out of the discharge zone.
now I'm saying, there's a commercial well, I don't know, Schaefer's, you know what I'm talking about.
I know where you're going.
Maybe not. Do you have to, let me back up a minute. Do you have to take a property in its entirety, or can you take part of a property? So if there's let's just say there's 80 acres, and only 40 of it would make sense to take. Do you have to take the whole parcel?
There's no provisions in the code at all in terms of requirements for what's to be in and what's to be out. Typically, with past practice, it's been if it's a commercial property or a platted subdivision or a school, typically it's taken out. So if the agricultural committee says these 40 acres are in, these 40 acres are out, I don't see anything in the code that would prohibit that from happening.
Go ahead.
The problem will be having a legal description
Yeah.
of that.
That would be a difficult problem because then the map, where's the line?
Well, for just for enforcement
Mhm.
purposes and also for the property owner and anybody else.
I imagine you're thinking about a physical boundary.
Well, no, I was thinking more like a buffer, because if you look at, and I don't know if it's doable, that's why I'm asking. Todd raises a good point. I would, on the Sugar Mill specifically, and being that I live right there, I'm familiar with it. The entire Schaefer property would be the property that would need to be changed if we decide to go that route. But I don't know that the whole property needs changed. If it does, I think that even though Mr. Schaefer, who doesn't live around here, I think he should be asked about it at least, because, I mean, it's a field in the woods, and I would hate, I don't think he would care, but in other instances, somebody might. So, and I don't wanna speak for him, but on paper, you wouldn't need to take the whole thing, but if what you're saying is, I don't know, just look into a buffer maybe, if it's doable. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but, this is why people hate lawyers. Doing it maybe absent having it surveyed to come up with a new legal description, I don't know, I'm not an expert in that area, I don't know how else you'd do it, and I'm looking in terms of enforcement of it. We have to give notice, so drawing a line on a map, I mean, I don't know how. We have to, I want to get Mr. Zetz involved, obviously, Tommy, it's a great idea to do buffers when you don't need the whole property, but.
So let me ask this, being that property is one of probably many others that need looked at least on that one, because Sugar Mill, obviously being in my ward, has reached out to me several times. Scott, BJ, could someone reach out to Mr. Schaefer, and find out, I can get you his number. He lives in northern Ohio, he doesn't live around here. And find out if he would have a problem with his property, I think it's 60 acres, that parcel.
Mm-hmm.
And ask him if he's okay with it. If it is, the next ag meeting, we can just go ahead and get that taken care of if he's cool with it. I'd hate to just change it on him,
Right.
but I don't know that he'd mind.
Well, we can surely ask and just say, this has come up, would this be something you'd be interested in, taking this out of the discharge area?
I know it'd make Sugar Mill happy.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be one of probably multiple that need done. I just wouldn't feel comfortable voting for it without his permission,
I agree.
so. Good point, Tom.
Well, I'll just say, typically, as Scott said, historically, I guess, we've taken subdivisions once they develop, commercial areas, schools, all of that. I recall there was at one point somebody who requested to have their property taken out of a discharge zone. That was not one of those, and ultimately, it was not approved by council because it was determined we're following those certain guidelines. So I feel, my experience here is that the councils who were here didn't want to just open it up and allow people to start requesting taking their property out of a discharge zone. It's always been based on a certain criteria that we would remove them. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. If Mr. Schaefer says, yeah, I want to remove mine, it was quite the effort last time when somebody requested it. Not saying right, wrong, or otherwise, it's just.
But that was, Tommy's request is for a property that comes right up on a new residential
Yes.
area. That request was for someone who just didn't want people hunting on the property, but the property itself was suitable for being in the discharge zone. That's a little different.
It's a good distinction.
A little different.
And that's a good point, and Scott, I just texted you his number, by the way.
Okay.
But here's something too that I think that the whole map and everything, it's worth bearing discussion because with our personal property coming up to not really the same way Schaefer's does, but it kind of touches on a corner maybe is the best way it touches Sugar Mill.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the way that property lays where our own family farm, I could see where part of that could be in the discussion for not being taken out of the discharge zone. But I certainly wouldn't want our whole property taken out of it because there's part of it that we do hunt in, but it's on the other side of where the development is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's other people that are in that case, so I wonder if that's something that we could look into. Does that, I know the lawyer down there. too.
No, not the lawyer, the councilman who experienced that. And I noticed that Mrs. Carter and Mr. Hicken fled. I don't think Mr. Fulton was here.
I was not.
I know the chief was, and he just shuddered.
I
And the
wasn't.
mayor was here. BJ, I don't think was here for, he's here for part of it. It was, I'll talk to you about it later.
This could be good, I can
Tom,
tell.
yeah, I'll talk to you about it later. Tim can fill you in too, yeah. I just said, hey, I just want to make sure we update the map. I was not suggesting that we move anybody in or out of a discharge zone.
Todd, actually, you did Sugar Mill a favor because we had been trying to get this discussed last year
Right.
and it kind of just triggered me to think,
Well, I know, but wasn't there an incident in Sugar Mill last year where somebody felt that
Yes.
somebody had been firing them?
Yes.
And we thought it might have been hunting, we never did figure anything out, but it was, those houses go right up to the Schaefer property, right up to the woods, so, okay.
you just made me go, oh crap, we forgot to.
Great, okay, all right.
Any other business? No? Kathy, I know you had sent an email out saying that we have several more
We have
coming to us.
a total of 6 more that I've heard from the county auditor's office. One of those 6 came in just this evening. So,
So I know they have timeframes on them.
yes, we're looking at May 4th.
Okay.
Or not, excuse me,
I was
not
gonna
May
say, that
4th,
was a
March
long
4th.
timeframe. So I guess we have to discuss whether we're going to have another ag meeting before the next council meeting. I don't know if that's available or not, or,
Next meeting is pretty busy. We have 2 public hearings
so,
and some committee meetings,
so
so.
would it be prudent to have it the first meeting in March? Is
Yes.
that okay with everybody?
It would be just prior to the public hearing
I
again.
think, unless I'm at work, I'll be here.
Okay.
March 4th, I'll be here.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and, I think we'll take this exact same amount, or try to hit the same time schedule.
Okay.
Do the 6:20 to 6:40, and then have the public hearing afterwards.
Okay.
That's all right. Okay. That's all I have. Anybody else? A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Say,
Kathy?
Walther,
Yes?
Lee,
yes.
Barstow?
Yes.
Next meeting in 4 minutes, so don't get too comfortable.
Public hearing for these.